Hi guys, welcome to the 11th video of the Golang restaurant backend management project series. So in this video, we are going to tackle just the invoice controller file. That is it, just one file. We'll complete all the functions in this file. We'll try and copy and paste from other controllers as well. But we'll also be writing a lot of the code on our own, okay? So because there are some differences, so let me first show you the differences. So firstly, we'll have to create type invoice view format. So an invoice has a format generally, right? So the struct will have an invoice underscore ID. It'll have a payment underscore method. It'll have order underscore ID, and it'll have payment underscore status and payment underscore due, table underscore number. It'll have payment underscore due underscore date, and it'll have some order underscore details. Okay, and now you can just quickly complete this. So this is going to be string. Payment method again will be string. Order ID will be string again. Payment status is ampersand string, and payment due. So this is of type interface. Table number is again an interface, and payment due is basically time, so you need the time package for that. Order details is again an interface. Cool. Now I want to create my invoice collection, which is of Mongo collection type and database.open collection database dot client comma invoice. So invoice is the collection that I will be using here. All right, so the collection has I can access the collection using invoice collection variable that I've just created. So for get invoices, let's start with get invoices. So here we'll obviously that we have context and cancel, so you can either type it on your own or you can just go here and copy it quickly. So I'll just copy and paste it, this line, right? So that's some effort has been saved here. Now you go back to your order controller, and here this file, this line, right? Just copy this complete thing. Just copy the whole thing here. And listing, instead of order, just replace it with invoices, right? The rest of the part, since there's some changes, so we'll just type it out on our own. So it'll be all invoices that we'll be returning from this function. psound.m, that's type of slice it'll be. And if error is equal to result dot all ctx comma ampersand all invoices, error not equal to nil, here you'll say log dot fatal error. At the end you'll just say json http status okay comma all invoices is what will be returning from this function. Perfect. So it's imported log, net, http, time, all those packages for us. Here there's a squiggly line because it should be http dot status okay. So very quickly we have completed our invoices get invoices function. Here, since I copied, I made a mistake. Should be invoice collection. All right, if you have that same mistake, just correct it quickly. So it's invoice collection. So that's the kind of mistakes you can make. Even an experienced person can make those kind of mistakes when working with a copy and paste code. All right. So here for get invoice, you'll copy and paste this line at least. Okay, and then you'll have an invoice ID, and for that ID you'll get the data for that invoice, right? So you'll have access to it using your param, and you'll have a variable called invoice of type models dot invoice. And here you'll have invoice collection dot find one. So first we'll find if that invoice is even there. So here we'll say context dot bson dot m invoice underscore id invoice invoice id, yeah, dot decode ampersand invoice. For cancel if error not equal to nil. Oops. Sorry, I'm just making a lot of mistakes while typing. I don't know why. Dot status internal server error comma gen dot h error. You'll have error occurred while listing invoice item. Okay, so far so good, right? Now comes the part which is slightly different. So here I advise you to, if you've been copying this part till now, I advise you to not copy from now. Okay, so here we want to create an invoice view, which is going to be of type invoice view format that we just created. First, we want to get all the order items. So you'll have a function called items by order, and we'll have invoice dot order id. That's what we'll pass to that function. Okay, and now you want to do something with that all order items. So here we'll say invoice view dot order id is equal to invoice dot order underscore id, invoice view dot payment underscore due dot date is equal to invoice dot payment due underscore date. So essentially what you're doing is you're creating your own invoice view, right? And the invoice view will have different order items. It'll have order ID, it'll have a payment due date, all of those things. So we want all of those things to be there in our invoice view. And here we'll say invoice view dot payment method. Sorry, the wrong spelling of payment is wrong. Payment method is equal to null. And here we'll say if invoice dot. So for payment view, we're as of now we're keeping our payment method null. So for the invoice that we've just received, for that invoice we're checking the payment method. So for this, if the payment method is not equal to nil, then you want to do something. We want to say invoice view dot payment underscore method is equal to ampersand invoice dot payment underscore method. Alright, so invoice view, the payment method invoice view, which we've defined here, becomes equal to the invoice payment method if it's not nil. Alright, and to begin with, we started with nulls just to make sure that no garbage value is accepted there. And here we'll create invoice view dot invoice underscore id is equal to invoice dot invoice underscore id. Okay, here's the spelling of just check the spelling of invoice, make sure everything is all right. Everything looks good till now. Now we want to do a couple more things. So we'll say invoice view dot payment underscore status is equal to star ampersand invoice dot payment underscore status. Then we'll say invoice view. So this is why so this part is completely different from the other controller files. That's why I said, stop copying at this place, and you'll have to type along with me. Payment due is equal to all order items, sorry, payment due. Okay, so the all orders, as you already know, we have received all the orders, all the items in that order, right? So here we'll say invoice view dot table number is equal to all order items 0 table number, invoice view dot order details is equal to all order items 0 order underscore items. So we have been able to create our own custom invoice view, and this is the invoice view that we want to send to our front end. Right, because invoice view has many things. It has payment due, it has table number, order items, right, and all order items that we've received here for that order, that's where we got all those values from. I hope this is clear. If anything out of this that we've done till now doesn't make sense, please put it in the comments below. I'll try and explain to you. But I'm assuming that since we have built all these controllers together, you're kind of getting the hang of, like, till here everything is, I'm pretty sure everything is clear. After this part I think could be slightly confusing for you. That's only because we are getting this data from payment due, table number, order items from our order items basically, and we're putting that in our invoice view. So now we will left with two functions: create invoice and update invoice, right? So let's work on that quickly. So first I think we can tackle update invoice, because this is going to be quite straightforward. It's not going to be very complicated. So in our update order, at least this part, I'll copy this line from here. I'll copy this line. Okay, and I'll create, and a variable called invoice will be models dot invoice, and invoice ID is equal to c dot param invoice underscore ID. Okay, now need this part here. Actually, I'll just type it out on my own quickly, or I can take it up from here somewhere. No, I'm not finding that part. Okay, instead of okay, nice. Okay, I found it. Yeah, this is part. So sometimes to copy and paste it takes time, because you have to find the right thing to copy and paste also, right? So here you'll say invoice. Cool. Now the same thing, we have to start creating our filter. Our options, all of those things. So what I'll do is I'll create the filter quickly. So I'll say filter is equal to json.m invoice ID. Okay, and again the same thing. We'll have an update object. Type, you already know the type is primitive.d, and we'll do a couple of checks just like we always do, right? So we'll say here if invoice dot payment method is not equal to nil, then we'll do something. And if invoice dot payment status is not equal to nil, then we'll do something. Okay, then you have your standard stuff, your updated at, and your updated object, and your upsert. I'll just copy and paste this whole thing here quickly. Okay, and since I've copied and pasted, I'll just need to be sure that I change the things properly. Okay, So upsert equal to true. Here I just noticed that there's an issue here. It should have been equal to. Okay. Now I'm just creating my options. So for options, I'll say options dot update options upsert ampersand upsert comma status is equal to pending. So invoice dot payment status is equal to nil. Then invoice dot payment status is equal to ampersand status. So all that we're doing here is if the payment status is not there in invoice, by default we're just keeping it as pending, nothing else, nothing fancy happening here. All right, and then the most important part of any update function is left, which is calling the MongoDB function, which is update1 parse the ctx filter pson.d $set comma update object, put a comma here, and here you put a comma, and here you put the options and a comma again, and you'll capture the value here in result, or you'll capture the error. And now it's our time to handle the error. So if error not equal to nil, msg is equal to fmt.printf invoice item update failed c.json http dot status internal server error comma gen.h error and message, and then you just return from there. Okay, just make sure you put the spelling properly for error, and we cancel json http dot status okay comma result. All right, so as soon as you saved, it found all these different packages and it has removed the squiggly lines and all the issues, and everything works perfectly now. So you're done with your update invoice function. Now what's left is the create invoice function. So let's start working on that quickly. Here again I need this first line, so I'll copy and paste it instead of typing it on my own to save some time. I need to create invoice of type models, so I'll copy and paste that as well. And I'll need this whole part, so I'll just copy and quickly I'll paste it. Right, so that's done. Now I want to work on my order, so I'll say models.order and invoice. So first we have to find if that order exists for that invoice to be there, right? Because invoice is created for a particular order. So we'll say order collection dot find one dot pson dot m order id invoice dot order underscore id dot decode ampersand order. Okay, defer cancel if error not equal to nil. Sorry, oops. So this error we have to now handle. If error not equal to nil, say msg.sprint f message error was not found. Okay, and then you'll say c.json http.status internal server error, comma gen.h error and message, and then you'll just return from here. And again, we'll do the same thing of having this pending status as default. Oh, I just realized that I've not put any code in these checks and update invoice. Okay, so I'll have to do that as well. So first, let me just copy and paste this thing quickly here. Okay, and I'll come back to this function, which is the create invoice function. But first, let me handle the update invoice function, that part where you need to check these two things, right? Here we'll say update object is equal to append update object, comma bson.e payment underscore method, comma invoice dot payment underscore method. Okay, and if sorry, O needs to be capital here. And for payment status, we'll have update object is equal to append update object, comma bson.e payment underscore status, comma sorry, it's a phone call, take it up in a while, invoice dot payment underscore status. All right, so your update invoice function is at least complete. And now we can go back to our create invoice function. So after this, I will create the created at and updated at. So let's say invoice dot created underscore at and invoice dot updated underscore at, comma blank character. And what I need here, it's quite straightforward. I just need to copy and paste this quickly. All right. There's one more thing that I need actually. I'll say invoice dot payment due date. Right, just like created and update at, created at and update at, we have payment due date, which is also a date, right? That's type date. So here we'll say dot parse time dot time dot rfc 239, comma time dot now dot add date 0, 1 dot format time dot rfc 3339. Okay, so now just a couple of things more and then we're done with our create invoice function. So here you'll have invoice, not in capital, not in small letters. Invoice ID is equal to primitive dot new object ID, and after that you have invoice dot invoice underscore ID is equal to invoice dot ID dot hex. And you have validation error is equal to validate dot struct invoice, which you know is standard stuff. When in every post request you need to validate everything properly, otherwise you get an error from the database. You don't want that, and we're now checking if everything is okay with the validation error. So if validation error is not equal to nil, we'll have c.json http.status bad request, comma gen.h error validation error dot error. Okay, and return. And now comes the most important part in having create function, which is basically insert one. This is a function of MongoDB, and you will have to use invoice collection to call this function. And here you'll say result comma insert error. All right, and if insert error not equal to nil, fmt dot sprintf, sorry, invoice item was not created, c.json http dot status internal server error comma chain.h error message return. And after that we have defer cancel c.json http dot status okay comma result. So whatever result you get from calling this function, insert one function, you'll return that function along with status okay. Okay. So yeah, so here I can see some issue. I'm sure you've seen it as well. I should have been is equal to fmt.sprintf. Okay, so now everything looks great, and now I think we're just left with table controller and autom items controller. So only these two are remaining, and then the user control part is going to be very similar to what we've already done in the JWT authentication series. So I'll just go through it very quickly, and I'll create all the other files. So mostly the two important things that are remaining are auto items controller and table controller. That's it. Table controller is very easy and straightforward. So only this is the main important thing remaining, and everything else then we'll close up quickly, and then we'll be done with the series. All right. So thanks a lot for watching. Thank you for your patience, and I'll see you in the next episode.